Hello, everyone. Sorry about that, but I think I was doing something a little fun today. Um, Over the Fourth weekend, because the Fourth was a Monday, so we went up and left on the Fourth. We went up that Friday. Anyways, I was with my family, my in-laws, and we were talking about the ones from Texas. I got a brother-in-law, sister-in-law, a niece and nephew from Texas, and we were just sitting there talking about the North and the South, and this and that, Texas and Wisconsin and Minnesota. Well, just talking about a number of things, and I'm like, um, do you guys? I said, you guys are really, really messed up down there. And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, y'all talk funny. And they're like, and you don't. I'm like, actually, I don't. I talk pretty normal. And they said, you got a heavy northern accent. Hey, Steve, how's it going, brother? That's fine. It'll be posted up as soon as I'm done here. So, um, you know how to find it. And they said I have a heavy a heavy northern accent. I don't have a northern accent. No, I'm from Minnesota. We talk normal. you know, um, I find people from Iowa and Nebraska that have an accent, um, but not as and they tell me as well. I have a heavy northern accent. I said, so what? Am I nasal? Yeah, I'm a bit nasal, but it's more the Norwegian type, and I ain't Norwegian. I'm mostly German, English, Scottish, and Irish. You know, I like to get drunk and fight with myself. That's my joke. Hey Jeff, how's it going? And if I listen to uh, my own recordings, I can hear the Norwegian accent. I can hear all that just mildly. But to me, I don't have an accent. But to others, yeah, I pretty much do. you know. So being as I was talking to my relatives from Texas, and we're just picking on each other about the South and the North and this and that, and just picking on things. Air conditioner kicked in, and I said, "Y'all got some funny, funny words, you know." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, your funny words. You got funny sayings of what you down there than what we do up here. Here we just say pretty much what we mean, but we're passive aggressive about it. We don't like it, but we're nice. That type of thing." Well, I did some research on things and on that, and I'm like, so how different is the North versus the North versus the South on the way we talk and our phrases? And it turns out we're pretty different. Yeah, there's that Norwegian accent. You know, um, so one of I'll get into the words a little bit here, but I found some other things. Like we're living on high cotton. They actually do say that down there, which means you're feeling particularly successful or wealthy, since cotton was a key crop in the southern states for their economy. Um, every harvest, the farmers would pray for tall bushes, tall cotton, because they're easier to pick. They get higher returns. So we're living on high cotton, then madder than a wet hen. This one got me pretty good because I never heard this one before. Um, Hens will start at nothing to incubate their eggs, which is true, and they get agitated when farmers try to collect them. So the farmers used to dunk the hens in cold water to break their broodness, which comes madder than a wet hen. I found that kind of funny because if I did that to my wife, she'd be pissed, and I wouldn't break her broodiness. Um, so that was a couple of phrases I found that was kind of interesting, uh, say the least. You know, and then the words, or actually, this is more a little bit of phrasing. You know, I got the words coming up here. I got a whole ton of them. Like hold your horses. That comes from the South. Used when someone is being impatient. I know quite a few of those people. Means kind of wait, hang on. Used to command a horse to slow down. Uh, we use that up here all the time. Hold your horses, but it's got a southern root to it. That's where it came from, the South. Where in the South? I don't know. Uh, you all. That's a southern word. You all. That means you and everybody else, pretty much. I say it. My daughter, who now lives in Arkansas, she says it all the time. You all, you all, you all. And I'm like, yeah, why not just say all of you, that type of stuff. So in the North, we don't say that. She goes, bullshit. I call bullshit, Dad, because I say it all the time. You know, fixin' to. My daughter says fixin' to a lot, which is, I almost can't read my own handwriting. Southern Atlantic and Gulf states never getting ready to do something. They're fixin' to. Always fixin' to. Hear that, Jeff? You're always fixin' to do something. Over yonder. Something's far away from you, still in your line of sight. Yonder, which is Dutch for, yonder. Dutch grinder means over there. Or not grinder, Dutch gender. What? I can't read that. I got to write a little bit more clear. Um, and Mark Twain's Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court been used in the Southern since. I don't know why I wrote that down. Probably has the over yonder. Oh well. There was a good reason why I wrote that down, and I can't even remember why. Um, I don't know. Good book. Should read it. Pretty as a peach. It's a great compliment. You know, it's peaches are pretty good. Look wonderful. Feel wonderful. Taste wonderful. So you're pretty as a peach. And huge compliment. That's what the states with peaches. So Georgia peach. Get the link. Heavens to Betsy. I've said that quite a bit. comes from the Revolutionary War and Betsy Ross, but yet there's no evidence to the war or tying it to the war or where it came from. But that's a pretty good idea, having some Betsy. So um, I'm pretty sure they're not talking about a cow, you know. Then you got cattywampus. Cattywampus. I've I've said that, not knowing where it came from, which means something's askew, mossy, or out of whack. That's pretty new from the 19th century, I was told. Cattywampus. I think I'm going to start using that word, especially at work. You know, and the list goes on. This one I have never heard before, and kind of made me go, "Wow!" She's happy as a dead pig in the sunshine, which means it's a positive despite the sad connotation. Um, how the pig smiles when it's dead is the lips are pulled back to reveal a toothy grin. So that's she's happy as a dead pig in the sunshine. Um, Never heard that one. I don't think I'll use that one. Um, might get some funny looks for that one. So, and Hellfighter Steve, this one's for you. I'm finer than a frog's hair split four ways. Because you always say finer than a frog's hair. It's how Southerners way is, how are you? That's what I found when I looked when that came up is, how are you? How you know you get the picture. um, One thing I argue with a lot of people is what Southerners call crayfish. I've always called them crayfish. Always, 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 always. But down south, they're called crawdads. Not crayfish. They're called crawdads. I've got that written down here a little elsewhere too, I think. Um, or they'll call them crayfish. But no, I've always called them not crayfish. I call them crayfish. Um, Crawdads, all that type of things. Yeah, I've got them written down here somewhere. But anyways, um, I just think that's weird. People say, "Well, they're never called crayfish." Yeah, I call them crayfish many times. Go down the creek, look, there's crayfish. There's crayfish. Down south, it's crawdads, and they actually scoop them up, cook them up, and eat them. I've never had crayfish before. I would imagine it'd be kind of like a mini lobster. I got something down here in hankering. That's what that is. In the mood for something deep. Um, yeah, in the mood for something. I'm not tying in my words right. That comes from the deep south for food. Might could equals might. Willingness or ability to do something. Might could. That is a little ass backwards to me. You know, if ability to do something, why don't you say you're just going to do it, or you might do it instead of saying might could? I I don't know. That kind of backwards to me. Maybe that came from Texas. Who knows? Thingamajigger, something that you forget the name for, like doohickey, thingamabob, whatchamacallit. Why did Ariel and Little Mermaid call that fork a thinglehopper? I think that's what she called it. I can't remember. It was something on that lines. In the north, we say pop. In the northeast states, it's soda. In the south, all soda is Coke. I think that's pretty backwards. You know, pop is pop. I don't say soda. I say pop. That's what I was brought up. That's what I say. If I hear someone say soda, I know they grew up south of me or they're from the south. My daughter always says, when we went out to eat down there one time, she goes, "You want a Coke?" I said, "No, I don't want a Coke. I want a pop." She goes, "Dad, everything down here, when you say Coke, that is pop. We just say Coke for everything down here." It was like, wow. So um, I say this one quite a bit, which is hush up or just hush, which is the southern way of saying shut up. Hush up, shut up. What? Just say shut up. It's a lot better, a lot easier. You're saying what you mean, you're not getting anything confused. Um, or just say hush. Plain and simple. Easy. No, you can't mix something up. But if you say hush up, you look means can look kind of stupid. Not stupid. Wrong word. Sorry about that. Um, Not knowing what you're talking about, basically. Ragamuffin. Don't look good enough to leave the house. My mom has used it quite a bit. My grandparents have used it quite a bit. Ragamuffin. Uh, the new term for that now is trailer park trash. Uh, you're going out of the house. You look like trailer park trash. So you don't want to leave. You want to leave the house not wearing pajama pants or a shirt that you just wear around the house when you're not going to go out do something. You know, so ragamuffin. Don't look good enough to leave the house. Didn't know that had a southern work to it. You know. Now here's some of the words from the South. Um, ain't. The sister of one's mother or father. I need to go visit my aunt. And that's got a um, accent on that. Here we say aunt. They say aunt. Can't. I can't do that. In the north, it's can't. In the South, they say can't. I can't do that. Fitting. This is actual Southern words. Fitting. Fixing to fixing to about to do something. I'm fitting I'm fitting to buy one. I'm fitting to buy. I'm going to the store and fitting to buy that TV. That that one kind of baffles me a little bit. Fitty. Can I borrow 50 cents? That instead of saying 50, they say fitty. I think that's a lot of a southern accent going on with these words. I mean, which is I am going to. I mean to go do that song. I mean to go do that game. I mean to go to that game. I can't write. I can't read my own writing. Hope you all are laughing at my ass because yeah, because I can't read this shit. I manna is also I am going to. I manna going to that game. I manna go to that game. NM and them. NM means and them. I'm going to the game with Bob and them. I say that a few times too. Yeah, I've got that, Jeff. I got that written down here on another page. Yeah, the aunt and aunt. Um, when I looked this up before, they had an I in there. That's why I said that way. But and this one, they don't know if it refers to paint or pants, but paints could refer to actual paint or pants. Give me time to pull on my paints. I would almost say that's a accent on that one. They're probably saying pants, but it comes out paints. Tars, which is tires with a southern drawl. I need to get some new tars for my car. I think I'm going to say that when I go into the shop up here. I need some tars. See what they say. Southerner with a southern drawl. Um, Southerners usually drop the last letter when pronouncing words. Didn't know that. Well, actually, you hear it when they talk because you go to Boston, New York area, it's ka, not car. It's ka. We pronounce the North. We pronounce almost every letter in the word. So car, Boston, New York, it's ka. South, it's car. Um, I had something written down about that. Um, but I don't remember where I wrote it down at. Um, now, in the north, You got we have these little things, these little bitty insects that fly around at night and light up all over the fields, out in the country, because if you're out in the city, you don't see them. They're called lightning bugs. In the south, they're called fireflies. Same thing. Um, I call them fireflies, lightning bugs up here. Um, but mostly the north calls them lightning bugs. And they're just little bugs with the tails that light up. I think it's the females that light up to attract the male. Bioluminescence light, and it's fun. I mean, it's we used to run around and catch these all the time, and put them in jars, put some leaves in there, puncture holes in the top, have them in our jars for a couple hours, let them go, do their thing. You don't want to keep them because for too long because they're going to die. So let them go out and do their thing. You know, in the north, hang on here. Um, in the north, we say oil. Oil. I say oil. Down the south, it's oil. In the north, we say caramel. In the south, it's caramel. We tend to leave the A out when it comes to caramel. Um, all our labels say caramel, but we actually say caramel. I look at it, oh, look, caramel. But it's actually caramel. Crayfish or crawdads, Jeff, this is what I was talking about. Down in the south, mostly around the Louisiana area, it's crawfish. Here we say crayfish. Down there, they say crawfish. In the north, we say ant. No, in the north, we say aunt. AUNT, aunt. Down in the south, it comes out as ant. They drop the U. In the north, we say mayonnaise. Down in the south, it's mayonnaise. Mayonnaise. Um, in the north, you know, for a road, going a road or something, go on, we say, you're going somewhere, go on this route or go on this route. Down in the south, it's route. In the north, it's route. I don't know. I always say it's route. So I don't know how true that is. And I looked at my phone to see what was going on. I'll carry on here in a minute. And there are a couple other shows that they're on at the same time as me. So I didn't plan this out too wisely. Minnesota slang, you know, O for cute, which means adorable. O for cute. I've said that many a times. Oofta, yes, that is an actual northern word, means oh. You betcha it's an agreement. I've used that one many times. Holy buckets doesn't mean there's holes in the bucket. I know how some of you think. It just means geez Louise. And there's skull. That's a pure Minnesota word, skull, which means cheers, game chant. Um, you want to hear the skull? Listens to the Minnesota Vikings chants. Skull Vikings. And OPE, OPE equals oops. They just shortened it up. It's OPE. Top of the tater, which tater tot hot dish. If you haven't had it, try it. It's really, really, really good. And we refer to Minneapolis, St. Paul as the cities, not the Twin Cities, the cities. And why? Because they're right next to each other. And but to solve this long argument of who is right or wrong on this one, in Minnesota, and only in Minnesota, it's called duck, duck, gray duck. Everybody else says duck, duck, goose. Everybody else is wrong. It's duck, duck, gray duck. I don't care who you are. It's duck, duck, gray. Never heard of duck, duck, goose until I left Minnesota. Then it's like, well, no, it's not. It's duck, duck, duck. No, it's not. It's duck, duck, gray duck. It is actually only in Minnesota that it's said. Only in Minnesota. So, but in short, the South is just funny. Just plain old funny. They got their own words, their own slang, their own way of life. That's fine. I don't care. I got a lot of people I know that live in the South. Hmm. The one person I watch is on an hour early. No wonder. But anyways, that's my show for today. I ain't got too many people on here, so I will come up. I'll do some more research for another show, and I'll chat at you later. Be safe and be a decent human.